Hi, it's Jason Perico announcing it's holiday time at Bianchi Honda. This month, get clearance pricing on all top-rated Hondas, like the rugged Pilot, sporty HR-V, all-new Accord, and of course, Erie's favorite, the all-wheel drive CR-V. Only during the Happy Honda Days sales event, where there's only one choice when shopping for a new car. Erie's choice, Bianchi Honda.
Just like that, we're back. It is the Sports Blitz. It's Fox Sports Radio, 1330 AM The Fan. And it's time now for the first one this season, Jim Brunelli, Coach's Show. Coach, welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be back.
We missed you.
Gosh, it just seems like we left yesterday.
I got that for you.
Oh, nice.
See
I like
that?
it. Buccos basketball.
We'll get into it. Not the Buccos part, but the basketball.
But the basketball part. I like it. I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
You're combining the best of both worlds.
Gotta do what I gotta do.
Okay.
You just went on a road trip, West Virginia.
No. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, same thing.
That was the men.
Oh,
a little bit further.
So
I wish it was.
That's why they sent Sean to West Virginia. I was
That's
wondering
right.
what he was doing there. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Nonetheless, you went south.
Yeah.
And you came back 1-1.
Yeah. You know, not a bad way to start the year. Obviously, like I was telling you earlier before we got on the air, obviously the goal is to go 2-0. You never want to go 0-for. You never want to go 0-for. It's always split at best, win 2. And it was good to get that first win of the season. I thought the ladies played well. And then, you know, we had a chance. We had chances to play against two quality teams. Elizabeth City's coming off a rough year. They have a coaching change, but I think they got the right coach in there. And just knowing where he's been in the past and what he's done, I think he'll have that program turned around in no time. And then going against Johnson C. Smith, I've known Coach Joyner down there for a long time, back in my days when I was at Anderson and he was at Winston-Salem State. We would play each other, and then once he got there, you know, they have a really good team. I think they were picked one of the top 2 teams in the CIAA, where their conferences are split. So he has a quality team. They're going to do really well for themselves. And like I said, we had our chances. We led in that game. We got down. We come back. And then a few little errors. And despite all of that, being in the game and getting blasted on the rebounds, we just, you know, we didn't show up that way. But it was really good that we were close and had our chances despite the lopsided rebounding situation. We got to work on that in practice. We did, and like I told the team today, rebounding, it's nothing more than heart and desire. I mean, yeah, does it help if you're tall? It does. But if you don't have the heart and desire to go after the ball, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It matters if you have heart and desire to go get the ball. You don't have to be the biggest, fastest, or strongest. Bring up example, Charles Barkley. Wasn't the tallest player, but he got almost every rebound. Dennis Rodman wasn't the tallest player, looking at, you know, people's names that they would know. But it was about heart and desire. He went after he thought every shot was a missed shot, and it was his to get.
Even some guards, there are some guards that if they find themselves down low, if they get if the taller person doesn't have the immediate proper positioning, there's some guards that if they go down there, they're coming out with the basketball.
No doubt about it.
That's kind of what you're trying to say.
Exactly. I was talking to my buddy who's the head coach of Division I school. He had a 5'6" player lead their team in rebounding last year, only because she had a knack for going after the ball.
Right. It's really the initial instinct.
Yeah.
If you get that first step, then you can beat anybody to the right spot.
Absolutely. And I always say too is, hey, take out the middleman. If we can take out, always have to making a pass to one of our guards, and one of our guards go get it, let's help out our post players and do it. They got a tough enough job, you know, demanding them to post up, play really good, tough defense, then get a rebound, outlet it, beat everybody down the court, post up, be strong, then do the same thing again over and over and over. Playing post is one of the toughest jobs to do. We can't let our post players rely on it all the time. It has to be a shared venture of all the 5 that are out there.
I should have started with this because on the 6th, you went to Indiana.
Yeah.
Is that a whirlwind to go into a place like that? And coach
It is. What an amazing experience. I've never been to Assembly Hall. Coach Bobby Knight is one of the coaches that I absolutely loved growing up watching. I've seen him speak in person numerous times. One of my mentors actually coached with him at West Point.
Nice.
Dr. Dick Taylor, who is down at Clarion as the men's coach, and could tell some amazing stories. So just going in to that place, to me, it's like the Mecca. Do you know what I mean? When you talk about some of the venues in college basketball, you know, Cameron Indoor. I got to experience that. Was my first head coaching game of my career was in Cameron Indoor.
You're kidding me.
Yep. And then, places like Assembly Hall. Love to get out and play in, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, out there, There's places that you just absolutely love. Like I coached a game as an assistant in the Plestra. Those places like that are amazing. Those are like bucket list places. So when we had the opportunity to go out there and play a very good Indiana team, we couldn't pass it up. And we, like I said, we played, a really good quarter and a half. And our kids knew it. We knew going in, it was going to be tough. And we started off slow, got down, then climbed our way back, cut it to 7, got it to 13 at the half, and then just the third quarter got us. They kind of overwhelmed us, and we missed them, but we had a lot of good looks at the basket. They just weren't falling.
I found myself wondering how you maneuver that and how that sits with the players going in, because you have to know, there's a lot of D1 programs that are going to get beat up on by Indiana when they go in. So the girls in the back of their head, they're thinking, they're going to talk about us for the next 4 weeks on SportsCenter if we beat Indiana right now. But with that said, when you lose, do you think that it sits hard with them just as any loss would? Or
I think it does, but
you don't
I think
pass it up regardless.
No, right. There's times where you can really defeat the purpose of playing a game if you're not ready. If I didn't think my team was ready to compete, and we had a chance where I thought we could lose by 70, 80 points. Hey, there's some teams that lost by 100. I wouldn't do that because I think you demoralize your team that way. If you take them in, lead them to the slaughter, that type of deal. But
so there were things you took from that.
Oh, absolutely. There are things right now that we'll use from that this entire season because they have the athleticism that we're going to see in the PSAC. They have the height. They have the knockdown shooters. They play at a pace we would love to play at. And to be able to cause them to have 16 or 18 turnovers,
that's awesome.
That helped. And we got to see some of our defenses work against that type of ability. You got to chalk that up to experience.
And when you talked about your bucket list, when players look back on their experience playing basketball at Gannon University, it was an exhibition game, but it'll be one of the first things that's listed off 10 years from now.
Oh, no doubt.
Asks what were the better moments, the highlights of your time at Gannon. But
exactly, and that's a recruiting tool we use.
Absolutely.
There's some Division I programs that won't go play Indiana.
Yeah.
They won't. They don't go play UConn. They don't go, when I was in South Carolina, they don't go play South Carolina, Clemson, Wake Forest, Auburn. They don't. Some of those schools don't do that.
That's just such a cool experience. You
Yep.
wouldn't want to pass it up. But Elizabeth City State, they were the host?
No, Johnson C. Smith was the
Johnson C.
host.
Smith.
Yep.
But nonetheless, Elizabeth City State, that was a 68-50 victory. So you started to get into it, but I don't know if you have any further thoughts on the game. You had some returners who did really well. LaCava comes to mind. Chelsea Rourke was hitting some shots early, which she's known to do. And Maggie Mitchell, of course, can't forget her. Lauren Tay is also listed here. She has 7 points. Those are all returners.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot back. And those ladies played really well. Like I said, there were some really good halves of basketball. And what I mean by that is, like for example, against Elizabeth City State, we got up to a nice little lead, and we did that having turnovers. I think we went into halftime having like 12 or 13. So yeah, score-wise, offensively, very good. Turnovers, not very happy about. Second half, they made a run. We had less turnovers, extended the lead, and won the game. So we're still trying. I think teams this early, if someone's playing their best basketball right now, and that might be, if you watched the UConn women's game yesterday against Stanford, they just come out and just keep rolling. It's just unbelievable. But we're not playing our best basketball yet. And I'm sure if you ask Coach Gino, he's probably tearing that win apart, doing it. So we're trying to put a full 40 minutes. Right now, in that game, we probably did about 25 to 30. Then you go to the Johnson C. Smith game. We go and we play what I think is a really good first half of basketball. We get up, they make a charge, we tie it, we go into the halftime, 7 turnovers against a team that presses, that plays man in your face. So that was the good 20 minutes. The bad 20 minutes are the not so great, and maybe it wasn't all of the second half, so it wasn't all 20. There was probably a good 8 minutes in there where we ended up turning the ball over 15 times, 14 times, 13 times in the second half when we just got done. And they weren't applying any more pressure, We just got a little tired, little game slippage, little, think it's there, but it's not, that type of deal. And then, like I was telling you, we had 4 of those came as turnovers as charges.
Yeah, that's rough.
You know what I mean?
It's weird.
And some of them, hey, that's what the officials called. It's a 50-50 call. You know what I mean? We had one great screen by one of our freshmen, Sidney Mitchell. Legal screen. They called it illegal. That's a turnover.
No relation to Maggie, right?
No relation to Maggie.
But they can both ball.
But yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. So little things like that. So we're trying to put a full game together, and it's a work in progress. The rebounding really came into play. Like I said, we got out-rebounded by a ton, but we had our chances to win. And that was because we were hitting some shots. But what gave it away is when you don't rebound as efficiently as you should, and then you turn the ball over, that's tough.
Was turnovers the topic of conversation at halftime of game 1?
At halftime, yeah. Hey, they weren't forcing us to make turnovers. It wasn't like, it's unforced errors. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it was drag your pivot foot, that type of deal. Thinking that they're going backdoor and they're not. Pass out of bounds. Or we had a couple passes, and unfortunately our guards get the credit as the turnover goes to them. We had a couple passes go off a couple post players' hands, a couple players' hands.
And that's a fraction of an inch.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's, a lot of times with our players, it's they're thinking of what they're doing with the ball already instead of, I always tell them possession of the ball is more important than position on the court. You can't worry about where you're at in the court. You got to go get the ball. And some of it's like that. Or, I call it the I can do it coach mentality. I can fit that pass in there, even though it's and then it gets tipped, it gets deflected, it gets stolen. That type of deal that we're still trying to work out. And some of our kids are, some of our freshmen are making some plays that they made in high school that necessarily aren't going to make it at the college level because kids are athletic, kids are more physical, that type of deal. But I was really happy with everyone that played. We have 9 players right now. That's all we have that can go on that trip, and those 9 gave us everything they have. And we're still trying to work on rotations, and I'm excited, though, about it.
And it makes sense. You go into Johnson C. Smith with the turnovers. If you flipped that first half and second and you get the 7 turnovers in the second half, then you probably sleep a little bit better after watching the film.
Yeah, absolutely, and we get a couple more rebounds because there were a couple balls that bounced that we were boxing out. We just didn't release to go get it, or that one person did and got beat to it.
So you have good problems.
Yeah, they're all correctable.
Yeah.
They're all correctable. And that's the nice thing. Now we just got to take that focus into practice and have it carry over in the games.
Good stuff. You've got University of Findlay next. It'll help that you get to sleep in your own beds the night before, 6 p.m. on the 15th. And then it's Westchester into that PSAC schedule.
Yeah.
They love to throw you into that thing early on the 18th. So
yeah, this will
University of Findlay, what do you know?
They're 1-1, just like us. They're averaging 92 points a game. They're getting a lot of shots up. They have a really upperclassmen team. There's a lot of seniors. A couple seniors come off the bench and do really well for them. They're just putting up a lot of numbers. Watching a couple films. Their films haven't been, completely uploaded yet, but the stuff that I've seen, that coach does a great job over there. He was a former Division I head coach, and he has a lot of very versatile players. They run some really good sets. I'm probably going to steal a couple things from them just because I like what they do.
Sure.
And that's what us basketball coaches do. We just take from everybody else and make them our own. So, but no, I think it'll be a good battle. We got to come out and play. They're, like I said, they start, probably 2 or 3 seniors, and if they're starting 3 seniors, then they're starting 2 juniors. You know what I mean? So they're upper class, and they have a really good team, and they're deep.
Sounds like another great test before the PSAC
Absolutely.
schedule. So you want to round yourself in the form. Would you rather take these, well, let's not count Indiana because that was an exhibition, but the first 3 that are out of conference, would you rather take those and put them somewhere in the middle of the schedule, or you rather start off with those?
I'm never one to shy away from playing. I think if you look at the teams we've played non-conference, there's no cupcakes. And I think the reason you play these games is to get you ready for a tough PSAC conference. When we get into it, we're one of the best conferences in the country. Absolutely. And the West is super strong. The East is just as good. And you got to be prepared going in. It does me no good to play the School of the Blind 3 games and then go into PSAC with delusions of grandeur, whatever you want to call it, of beating teams, and you go out and you get lit.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because you're not playing anybody. So we're going to go out, make some tests. And the thing I keep telling myself so I can sleep at night, this conference isn't won in November. These games in November will help. PSAC, they're all counting. So those games got to help. But it's our strength of schedule. And I think it shows that we're not afraid to play anybody.
6 p.m. on the 15th. It is the University of Findlay coming to the Hammermill Center, and you'll open up your home schedule.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun to see that place full, packed, full of fans, ready to go for some Lady Knights basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. We get 3 home games right in a row. They're going to be, Saturday and Sunday. They're right in the middle of the day. Come on out, support your teams, and then go grab some dinner downtown here.
All right, Coach Jim Brunelli, you're back, man. Your radio is resumed. It's Jim Brunelli season.
It feels good. Appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.